What's up guys, Everything Apple Pro here and round 2 for iOS 10.2. Today Apple did release beta 2 and it's not a very big update, but it does come with a number of smaller features. So I've been digging through it for the past few hours and I actually did come up with a few that I found, and then of course there's the new ones that everyone's posting about. So let's go ahead and show you what's new in iOS 10.2 beta 2. The biggest change that you will see after updating is the addition of a new application. This is the Apple TV app that Apple was talking about at the recent October 27th event. Now, unfortunately, for some reason, I was unable to get it. I updated 3 devices and still nothing. I was unable to get any of these on my home screen. And if you guys are in another country, you won't see it either. But if you are in the USA, you should be seeing it. For some reason, I have not. Anyways, this is where you're going to find the new Apple TV app. This is what it looks like inside. And again, inside, once you do get through. So you can buy a bunch of TV shows watching here. I have your library. It's a nice app. Unfortunately, I don't have it for some reason. Thanks, Apple. Now, next up, you're going to see in your settings is the new TV provider over here. Now, this was available for some people in beta 1, but now in beta 2, it's available for everybody. So this is your single sign-in in one area for many TV applications. Apple was talking about this way back in the day when they were just releasing iOS 10, and now it's finally here. You can use it to sign into multiple TV providers with the same login from here, which is kind of cool. Now, alongside that new TV app, you will find a new widget for it over here in the widgets. So it will replace the videos, I believe, in here. So you'll now have that TV app for your widgets page. Unfortunately, again, I cannot show you it because I'm not able to access that app right now. There is a new SOS feature. So if we go ahead and click the power button 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're going to get this. And it's really, really loud. So be careful if you want to activate this. Like, this activates the speakers to the max. Now, there is a new setting for it, and I'm going to turn my brightness down. It's a little bright. If we jump into settings, into general, there's a new tab now for emergency SOS. So in here, you can go ahead and disable the sound or disable that feature altogether. So the new Apple Watch isn't the only one that gets that SOS feature. Kind of cool, I guess. Now open up your music application and you will get a new splash screen that lets you know that there are new shuffle and up next buttons. So the splash screen is brand new. Now let's check out those buttons. And indeed, if you go ahead and slide up, there are those 2 buttons right here that are brand new. It's a little bit of a redesign. So if we drag down, you'll notice that they were a little bit more discreet. Now they're in your face, clickable over here. Now, I was a little bit sad to see this one go, but the bypass that I shared with you guys that was available up until the last beta in iOS 10 has now been patched. So if we go ahead and jump into where we did it before and we pick a new song, and this is on an unlocked device, if we go ahead and select this text, there are no more share settings. So previously on the last beta, you could still perform this bypass if we went ahead and did that. Sadly, it has been patched since in beta 2, and I really liked messing around with this, but of course, it's a security hole for Apple, so they don't want to keep it around. But just so you guys can see, there is a share button, which no longer exists on beta 2. So that's it for beta 2, but I still want to share a good number of features that have been found on iOS 10.2 as a whole, because I wasn't able to capture all of them in my last video. So, Notification Center has received a couple smaller updates. Let's jump into an app like the App Store. Now, you would feel a vibration feel if you do it very, very slowly. That was removed in beta 1, but now has been brought back to beta 2. However, there's a new stickiness to the Notification Center. So when you drag it down, it hangs a little bit. And that was previously unavailable in earlier versions of iOS 10. It's a little bit more sticky, like hesitant when dragging it down. It's hard to explain. You guys have to try it out for yourselves, but it's definitely more smooth, especially when doing it a little bit slower. Definitely sticky is the word I would use to describe it. iOS 10.2 beta 2 is on the left here. So let's drag down on Notification Center. And if we actually slide over to widgets and then we slide this away and go back down, it now will stay where you left it on 10.2 instead of defaulting back to the notifications like it would on earlier versions of iOS 10. Definitely a welcome change. So you guys know how in iOS 10.2, Apple introduced some new home button features that would allow you to choose what happens when you hold the home button. You can completely disable any function. Well, if we keep it on Siri, but we actually go and turn off Siri over here, you'll notice that there is a new splash screen that allows you to turn on Siri directly from in here. So Apple wants it to be a little bit easier in case you disable that functionality. So this is brand new, and we've never seen that before. Now this one was found by me. If you actually jump into your music and go into the genres tab, and let's say we find something like this and like this. So if we actually go into one of these genres, you can actually see that there's a new sort button on the top right. So you can go ahead and sort your genres by these filters right here. So that was previously unavailable on earlier builds of iOS 10. Also in Apple Music, you can now download entire genres of music. So you're not limited to just artists or albums. You can download entire genres too. I'm just not signed into Apple Music right now, so I can't really show you, but that is a new setting in iOS 10.2. So in the settings, you guys know how we can disable show contact photos, right? Well, on the right is older versions of iOS 10. Now let's jump into the messages and notice how now on iOS 10.2, the contact photo will now disappear in the individual threads as well, not just on the entire message list. So nice little addition to that setting. Now let's set a pure white wallpaper on iOS 10.1.1 and 10.2. So you guys will notice how on earlier versions of iOS 10, Apple applied a slight gray gradient on top of the image. That gradient has since been removed in iOS 10.2, so you will no longer get dull photos as wallpapers. Now they'll be exactly as they were. A very nice touch to quick replies. This is some good attention to detail on Apple's part. So previously, if you were to send someone a message and you were to reply to it via quick reply, once this actually sends, right here, you'll notice how in the top left, it doesn't say who it's from. Sometimes people would start writing along a message and then forget completely who they're sending it to because it just says messages. Now, if I send a message to 10.2 in the quick reply field, you'll see it says the contact name who it's from. So that's a very nice addition. And this is probably one of the best things about iOS 10.2 is the focus on live photos. So live photos are much smoother on the new firmware. Let's take the same photo on both devices and get some motion in it. So moving them side to side, we can actually capture a little bit of motion right here. And when we go to play them back, take a look at 10.1. So it's much choppier. There's a stutter. 10.2 beta 2. So smooth. Look at that. There is much more animation life to it. Over here, feels like a very choppy image for sure. And there is that smooth motion. So much better. I'm not really sure how that'll reflect on sizes of the photos, but great job, Apple. You made live photos so much better. And that is everything for the features. I actually wanted to show you the storage before and after updating to this update. So I was on 105.36, available on 10.1.1. After updating, 107. So it returned 2 gigs, almost 2 gigs back to my device. I think that's pretty cool. So let's get a little idea of performance. I'm gonna run a Geekbench on beta 2 and beta 1 on this guy over here. And just by a hair on a goat, the iOS 10 beta 1 was a little bit better, but hey, this will change every time you run it, so pretty much the same thing. Speed-wise, I can't say it's gotten any better. It's the same thing really as 10.1.1, so feeling-wise, I haven't noticed a difference. But there it is, guys, a good amount of features in 10.2. I'm very excited for this update. Of course, the emojis is where the bulk of the changes for this firmware are. A lot of great new ones in here and redesign. I'm not sure why people are complaining about them. I think they look great. The attention to detail on them is fantastic. So I don't know. If you really want to go to a less detailed version, I mean, feel free to stay on an older firmware. But yeah, guys, there it is. iOS 10.2 beta 2. Stay tuned for future updates on this firmware. I can't say when we're actually going to be seeing it, but hopefully a jailbreak will hit us before the release, man. That would be great. I'm just waiting on that one. I really miss my old 6S Plus, even thinking about switching back to it just to get the jailbreak. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching. Enjoy the update. Peace.